Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Glad you tuned in. Today I'm going to be talking about a shotgun as a viable home defense firearm. It's probably one of the most common questions I get as an instructor, and I know a lot of people have questions about what's the best home defense firearm for me. And you can search online. There is a ton of content about why you should choose a shotgun, why you should choose a handgun, and I hope to cover kind of all of those topics. I'm going to do multiple parts to this video. The one thing I do want to say is I'm not in the special forces. I never served in the military. I'm not part of some SWAT team. I don't have this tactical training. Not that I'm against that. I love that stuff. But I am, I've been around firearms for a long time. I'm an NRA instructor. I love teaching people how to shoot. So I hope my perspective kind of reaches a certain audience that maybe is intimidated by all the tactical SWAT, special forces type training. I'm not that guy, although I love and respect our military. I love those guys. Those guys do some amazing work. But I want to share my perspective as a homeowner, as a father, as a husband, and as someone who's passionate about self-defense. So, a lot of people have shotguns. It is a great tool. It's very effective, but you have to know how to use it, and you have to know when it's appropriate to utilize it as a home defense firearm. The biggest misconception is get a shotgun because you don't have to aim it, you just shoot it. And that's the biggest misconception. That's a lie. You have to aim it. It doesn't spread out like some wide, huge pattern. In fact, you don't want it to. It's meant to be aimed. It's meant to, especially with something like home defense, buckshot, double-out buckshot, or number 4. It's meant to be able to put maximum impact in a concentrated space. And so I just wanted to help you guys out there, especially with the gun buying craze that's been going on. A lot of people have been purchasing firearms, handguns, shotguns, and I want to make sure that you're properly equipped for home defense. All right, so in what scenarios would you want to have a shotgun? Well, as you can see, a shotgun is long. It's a long gun, right? So that means a lot of things. One, it's hard to maneuver. It has a lot of mass, has a lot of weight, and it has a lot of recoil. And so from the get-go, most of the time in a home defense situation, you're one of two options. You're hunkered in a room, right? You don't need to worry about going through the house, searching. You're just in your safe place, your safe room. There's an intruder. And, in that instance, a shotgun can be a very viable choice. The only downside of the shotgun is the penetration power of the load. For instance, for me, I live in a neighborhood where there are houses all around. And so you have to realize that if you miss, especially with double-aught, you're sending 9mm bullets off into space somewhere. They're going to cut through drywall. They're going to go through structure. They're going to end up someplace that you don't want it to. But in that instance where you're hunkered in, where you have maybe a single point of entry and the bad guy's banging on a door, a shotgun is a very viable choice, because at that point you don't need to worry about the maneuverability of the shotgun. You're just kind of sitting there waiting for the bad guy. If you're in the second situation where you have kids in the house, you have other people in the house, right? And the worst case scenario, you have to make sure that they're safe. You have to go through the house. You have to actually navigate hallways and rooms, a shotgun might not be the best choice, just because it's big, it's heavy, it's long. Navigating corners is not easy as you swing it around. And the fact that there are other people in the house, you have to be very mindful, especially if you have an intruder in the house that's standing in a place where there's not a clear line of fire, meaning maybe they're in front of a door and you have a child in the other room behind that door. I don't know if a shotgun is, it might not be the optimal choice. So that being said, I know a lot of people still prefer a shotgun. A lot of people, that's their only home defense option. And so in that case, I want to talk about how to best utilize the shotgun as a home defense firearm. Talking about how do you make something like this more purpose-driven toward home defense? Well, the first thing I highly recommend is a light, right? Having it on your gun is just a great choice. One, because this is heavy and you're not going to be able to navigate it very well if you were to pull up a flashlight and try to hold it like this. Having it right there is your best bet. Where I prefer these where you can actually, the surefire or push button actuated, you can actually turn it so it's constantly on, or you can do a push button to make sure to activate the light. So a light is essential. I believe a side saddle is essential. Why? Because if you're grabbing this in a home defense situation, the ammo on the gun is the only ammo you're going to need. Now, in most cases, this is a long tube. It holds, by the way, it's clear. There's no ammo in the gun. These are dummy rounds. This holds 8 rounds, and then I have a side saddle that holds 6. If I need more than that, I'm in a bad spot. Even still, having as much ammo is just generally a good idea. And so I highly recommend having a side saddle. There are tons of options out there, tons of debate whether it should be nylon, whether it should be plastic. You guys can figure out what works best for your scenario. But regardless, I really recommend a side saddle, again, because the ammo that you grab is the only ammo that you're going to have with you. Finally, I highly recommend the sling. I see a lot of people's home defense shotguns and they're missing a sling. Why do you say it's not? Because I feel like you'd be patrolling the house and it looks cool so you can sling and do all this stuff. No, it's actually to keep your firearm retained to you as much as possible. Now, in the situation where I recommend a firearm is most viable, you're in your room, you're in the corner, you're in your safe room, and you have this pointed to the only entry point. Does a sling really matter? I still say yes. You want the sling on you. Sorry, I'm not wearing this the right way. This is a 3-point. And what does this allow you to do? It allows you to have hands free without having to place this down, without having to drop it. In the event that you have children or other ones that you need to retain, or you need to make a phone call, what have you, I like the fact that you can keep the firearm, the shotgun, on you, hands free. The other reason why is if someone tries to grab it from you, they're going to have a hard time. They're going to be fighting against the sling. The downside of the sling is it does make some manipulations a little bit harder, because now you have this it's strapped to you. It's a little bit harder to manipulate, which is why I prefer slings that are adjustable. And so you're able to make sure you have the space in however you want to do reloads and whatnot. But I highly recommend a sling. That's probably one of the biggest things I see missing from people's home defense shotgun. You know, they'll have the side saddle, they'll have the light, they'll even have a laser, they'll have a red dot, but they're missing the sling. And I really think the last thing you want to do is to have to put that down and not have it connected to your body. So, you know, other things I'll cover in a separate video, or, you know, the condition to keep a shotgun in, ammo and things like that. I will say, it's surprising to me how many people have a home defense shotgun and don't actually pattern the load. And what I mean by that is, you know, specific to your house. If you purchase a home defense shotgun for your house, you kind of know your house, you know the layout, and you know the distances with which you might engage a threat with your shotgun. You need to take that to the range. You need to measure out those distances based on your house layout, and you need to shoot different ammo and see which ones pattern the best for those distances. For instance, in my house, I have the longest distance I would shoot is my main hallway. Well, it makes sense for me to take ammo, measure out that distance, go to the range, and fire those rounds at that distance to see what ammo patterns the best. So many people don't take the time to do that. And so many people don't take the time to practice at the realistic distances based on their house layout. We go to the range and we just, that's just fun, shoot shotgun. But I really recommend that you make your practice, you make your range time really practical. Measure out the common distances in your home, from the edge of your bedroom or safe room to the door, the long distance of the hallways. Pattern your shotgun, find which ammo works. Practice engaging targets at those distances. That's how you make this tool practical for your situation. This is the 2AA channel. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to post a couple more videos specific to the home defense, specifically talking about loads, the condition to carry it in, and some ways that you can actually practice for home defense situations. As always, stay safe, teach someone to shoot, and vote for your Second Amendment rights. Take care.